So typically my press trips have always stayed in the United States. However, this week VW has actually flown me out to Germany. I actually had to take a connecting flight to Paris and then to Hamburg, Germany, where I'm actually in Travemünde at the 13th annual Beetle Sunshine Tour. And this is basically where a bunch of Beetle enthusiasts from all around the country come to literally show off what they've done to their unique bug. And you'll find all generations here, from the first generation, the classic, to the new Beetle, to the current Beetle, which is not called the new Beetle. But there's actually over 700 cars registered here, over like 4,000 people from different countries. So we're going to take a look at all the special bugs that are here, and you guys can see what people have done to these cars. Now, as I said earlier, all three generations of the Beetle are here. This is probably the version that people in the US are most familiar with. This is the new Beetle, which actually came out in 1998 and ran up till about 2011 when it was replaced in 2012 with this generation, which is the current one. It's literally just called the Beetle, not the new Beetle, even though it is the new Beetle. This generation definitely has had a more masculine look to it. And VW says that it's going to continue on this current design for another couple years, and they're not sure what they're going to do with it. I heard rumors of either it being discontinued or they're going to go to the electrification route. I would hate to see the Beetle go in the States, even though it's been kind of a slow seller for them. So this is the Beetle that I actually drove in. This is a very rare car. This is a 2001 RSi. Now, people in the US aren't familiar with the RSi because it never came to the States. VW only built about 250 examples. This one is number 2. And what it is basically a Beetle with 4-motion all-wheel drive and a 3.2-liter VR6 engine with about 221 horsepower and a 6-speed manual. Now, in the US, we actually got a R32, a Golf R32 that only came with an automatic. So this is essentially that car's powertrain, slightly detuned with a manual. And you can see here, this is factory. It's got these factory racing wheels on it, on 235 rubber. They're 18s, the wider body kit, and then a special exhaust with these really aggressive Recaro seats that are definitely one of the most aggressive seats I've ever seen in a Beetle. You can see on the inside of the RSi, these seats do not recline at all, and they also don't move up and down. They only move forward and back. I found the seats to be nice when you sat in them. However, the seat didn't sit up high enough for me, and the recline's a little too far back, so I couldn't really get a great driving position. I also never was really fond of this generation Beetle's long dash, which literally makes it feel like you're sitting in the back seat. But other than that, when you're actually sitting in the car driving it, it's brilliant. The shifter's great, the clutch is great, it's fast, it makes a good noise, and it's a shame it never came to the States. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have the GSR Beetle of this new generation, or the current generation. VW only made about 3,500 examples of this, and I believe they stopped production in 2015. And essentially, it mimics the original GSR from the classic Beetle. It has a 2-liter turbo engine, about 210 horsepower. You could either get it with a manual or a dual clutch, like this particular one has. And it's in that classic yellow and black exterior color scheme. Love the way it looks, honestly, from the front. Love the LED running lights that you get with the bi-xenons. The slightly more aggressive body kit, those aggressive 19-inch wheels and tires with the black roof. Never really warmed up to the way the current generation Beetle looks in the rear. I think the taillights are too big. I think it also is a big car. It doesn't really have that cute look, that friendly look that Beetles are known for, but they definitely gave it a more aggressive, masculine look with the squashed down roof. And it does have a great powertrain. And I drove it yesterday briefly. I found it to be a much more comfortable car than the new Beetle and the classic Beetle, obviously. On another end of the Beetle spectrum for this current generation, this is the Dune buggy, which is, again, recalling the classic Beetle from the 1960s through the 70s and 80s and whatnot. This current one you can actually buy today. Compared to a standard Beetle, it comes standard, with, of course, with the turbo engine, and it has a ride height increase, I believe about a ½ inch. Unfortunately, it's not actually a Dune-capable bug. It doesn't come with 4-motion all-wheel drive, but it does give you some nice different styling elements. Love the race suspension, love the lower cladding, the badging. It's definitely a car that stands out, and I love the fact that, you know, Volkswagen offers it in a convertible or a cabriolet. And this is, remember, this is VW's only cabriolet in the States. So if you guys want a convertible, the Beetle is basically your only choice. best part about being in Germany are seeing cars that aren't out in the States yet. This is the 2019 Volkswagen Arteon. This is a replacement for the very dated Volkswagen CC. This car is still about a year away from coming to the States. Maybe not a year, maybe about 8 months. But as you can see, this is my first time seeing the car in person. In this white with those black wheels, it is absolutely gorgeous. Basically gives you all the lines of the Audi A7, but without the price tag. At launch, when it comes to the States, it'll have a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with like 280 horsepower with either front or 4-motion all-wheel drive with their dual clutch automatic transmission. I seriously can't wait for this to come to the States. It has that, you know, sweet premium look, that special look that the Passat seriously is lacking. I think it'll seriously do well when it comes to the United States next year. So one of the perks of being a journalist is the fact that I'm at this Beetle festival and I can actually take one of these out for a drive. This 2000 Volkswagen Beetle RSi is a super rare production Beetle that was never available in North America. So I figured while I have access to it, let's take it out for a drive and see what it's like to drive what I think to be the ultimate of this generation Beetle. And there's a crap ton of people, so we're going to go very slowly, trying to get out of here. And one thing you guys probably notice is I am very short, and this car is not friendly for short people. The seat doesn't height adjust, the recline angle doesn't change, and I have trouble seeing out of the front of this car, simply because the dashboard is so long on the RSi, or this generation Beetle in general. You feel like you're sitting in the back seat versus when you're actually sitting in the front, so it's just a very odd driving position. It doesn't work for me. I'm short. Surprisingly, the clutch is pretty easy for me to master. It's in catch point is sort of at the end of the travel. It's a little bit numb. The shifter on this car though is excellent. Really short, stubby shifter. It has a nice solid feel through the gates. And it's a 6-speed also. I really like how it's a 6-speed, just great transmission. Clutch, not perfect, but the shifter, really, really good. Now I'm gonna try my best not to get lost in Germany because seriously, I'm in a foreign country. I don't know where the hell I'm going here. So we're going to keep it to a fairly short drive loop. Now, I was expecting this car to have a really terrible ride quality, and surprisingly it doesn't. For these big 18-inch wheels on low-profile tires, I'm really shocked that the ride quality is fairly supple. And because this car has 4-motion all-wheel drive, there's no torque steer from this powerful 3.2-liter VR6 motor. It makes 221 horsepower, which is actually more than what you get in the current Beetle Turbo. With its 1.8 or the old 2-liter turbo that you got in the GSR model. Now, to keep myself from getting too lost, I'm going to stay mostly on the neighborhood area, so I won't be able to push the car too much, but just around town here. I'm really impressed with how this thing feels. Honestly, I had a chance to drive the first generation, or the classic Beetle, this RSi and the new GSR, and I have to say this one is probably my favorite to drive for sure. Now it feels like this car gets to 60 in maybe like 6.5 seconds, but man, that V6 sounds good. What this car literally reminds me of is like the R32 that we never got in the States that had a manual. It only came with a dual clutch, and it's just fabulous with the 6-speed manual. Wow. Now these seats are very, very aggressive. Once you're sitting in them, I actually find them to be very comfortable for my frame. Now, there's a reason why this car was never offered in North America. For one, the seats are probably too constraining or restraining for a fat person. You wouldn't really be happy in these seats. The fact that it doesn't height adjust really pisses me off. The fact that it doesn't recline really pisses me off. And I literally feel like I'm too short. Like I'm constantly going like this just to see over the hood or to see over the dashboard so I can actually know where the frickin' front end of this car is. But other than that, I mean, visibility out of the back, you've got that big wing out there so you can't really see. It takes up a little bit of that rear window, but I'm impressed with the ride quality. I mean, it's just a fairly easy car to drive if you're tall enough, just I'm not. And of course, typical with this era of VW, the interiors literally smells like melted crayons. I can't stand that smell. It's part of the reason why I never really was fond of this generation or this era of Volkswagens. You get used to the smell, obviously. A lot of people have their theories on why it smells like this. A Volkswagen executive told me that the reason why it smells like this is because they used coconut oil, apparently, in some of the interior seals or moldings or whatnot. It's just a really annoying smell that kind of just gives me a headache. I'm not really a fan of the melted crayon scent in here. I have to tell you, even though this car is not super, super quick, the sound this car makes from that VR6 motor is just fantastic. It gives the Beetle so much character, and it's such a shame this car was never offered. I mean, this particular one that I'm driving is number 2 out of the, I believe, 250 they've made for Europe, not for the United States. And it's just a really, really awesome car, and I can't believe how many people stared at this thing. It's you know, it's a 2000, it's 17 years old, but honestly, this particular one only has 11,000 kilometers on it, which is like less than 9,000 miles. But yeah, I'm super impressed with this car. I never really cared for this generation of new Beetle in the past, but after driving the RSi, I have to admit, I am pretty impressed with it. It's a really cool car, so if you guys managed to find one out of the 250 that were made, it's definitely something that I wouldn't mind picking up if you're a fan of the Beetle platform for sure. It's just a really cool car. And it's also an all-wheel drive Beetle. I can't even think of an all-wheel drive Beetle. The current one doesn't offer all-wheel drive, and this is the only one I feel like out of this generation that offered all-wheel drive. I think the first one did, but that's kind of out of my era. My generation doesn't really know the classic Beetles that much. So it's been an incredible last few days here in Germany. I started out my journey over in Wolfsburg, where I toured the 2 Volkswagen factories. Autostadt was one of my particular favorites when it had all those classic cars from not even Volkswagen's lineup, from the entire lineup in Germany and other brands, to be honest, as well. And spending the whole day here on the 13th annual Beetle Sunshine Tour, I have to say it's a really cool event. If you guys have never really been into Beetles in the past, it's an event that'll seriously make you appreciate the car. Seeing it from generations 1, 2, and then of course the current generation was really eye-opening, and it's great to meet a lot of enthusiasts who are super excited about the Beetle name in general. If you guys know, my generation, the millennials here in the States, we don't really have much to say about the Beetle. It's a car that probably our parents and grandparents drove, and it's kind of a shame because Volkswagen is kind of teeter-totting with the idea of discontinuing the Bug. I've heard rumors of that, and then I've also heard rumors of Volkswagen continuing the Bug on for another couple of years and then moving it into an electrification for the next generation, which is something that I think would probably do well for VW. They seriously need to do something with the Bug to attract the younger buyers. I mean, the GTI and Golf Mark 7 platform is one of my favorite vehicles, so it would be pretty easy for Volkswagen to kind of move the Bug to that newer platform, since the current one is riding on the old Jetta platform. But as you can see, the sun is shining. I did manage to change my shirt and my clothes because it got kind of cold earlier. It was pouring rain and it was windy. It's only about in the 60s here, which is not something I'm used to here in being honest. But overall, I've had a really great time meeting all these people, seeing all these different bugs. I have a newfound appreciation for the Beetle. I hope you guys have enjoyed and also have found yourself actually appreciating the Beetle heritage in general. It's a car that literally Volkswagen says is the most mass-produced car in the world. The company has produced over 21 million Beetles since production first started back in 1938. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick tour of my trip to Germany, where I first started out in Wolfsburg, ended up in Travemünde. I actually have to fly back to the States tomorrow, but if you guys are also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next video. Okay.
And I like to start with this car here because it's the oldest one we have. And yes, you can take photos wherever you like to, and of course you can ask me everything. I try to answer. And this is from the 1930s.
Wow.
So it's a car from 1943.
Wow.
And the very special thing about it, it's an original KDF car. So it stands for, I don't know if you know it, Kraft durch Freude, which means strength through happiness. So it's an ideological thing from the NS regime.
Here in our tower, and then around about 90 minutes before delivery they get the signal over there. This signal is going automatically to our lift, and then the lift is coming, pick up the car, bring the car to the customer care center, and then they get the number plates, one person, make it a little bit nice, clean, and yeah, and then it's ready for delivery. When you come here and say, oh, I have the money, I want to have the new Tiguan, I want to have it in a nice, what is your favorite color? Red. I want to have it in a nice red, I want to have the park assistant system, I want to have this and this and this and this and this. So then they produce it, and then you get maybe an email or another nice information like a letter or maybe telephone. But the most is that you get a nice letter. Yes, and then you come here to the Autostadt, have a wonderful day here in the car city, do the tower drive, do maybe a factory tour when it's possible and all this. Yeah, and then the time is ready for pick up your car. You go in the customer care center, someone explain in a special room your car and say, okay, this is this assistance system, it's worked like this, we have the car net and blah blah blah. So then you get the key. He's drive with you the first 10-15 minutes. Yeah, don't when you're scared, don't look up.
Wow. Yeah.
So yes, and then you get the key.
Wow.